This is exactly why they are also hopping on the damage control train to really say everything is okay with this movie, even though we're losing a lot of money. They really want to make sure that they can get people to go ahead and see this in the theaters as much as they can.
Listen up, because what I'm about to tell you is wilder than any fairy tale you've ever heard. Rumor has it that Disney, a company basically synonymous with happy endings, might be demanding a massive refund from two of its own stars, Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Yes, you heard me right. Talk of cold, hard cash changing hands, all because this high-budget adaptation of Snow White allegedly crashed and burned in spectacular fashion. How in the world did it come to this? Buckle up, baby, because it's a roller coaster of towering budgets, behind-the-scenes chaos, and a fairy tale that got downright messy. First things first, this new Snow White was no small gamble. Disney reportedly poured over $350 million into the project after tallying up star salaries, lavish costumes, glittery special effects, and a marketing blitz meant to turn the film into the next big box office juggernaut. With the success of previous remakes like Beauty and the Beast and Aladdin, the suits in charge were confident that bringing Snow White into the 21st century would be a foolproof recipe for magic. They cast Rachel Zegler, the hot new star fresh off that big-time musical adaptation of West Side Story, to breathe new life into Snow White's iconic persona. Then they landed Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman herself, as the evil queen with all the glamorous villainy you could hope for. On paper, it looked like a dream team. Fan excitement soared as Disney teased the production with concept art, behind-the-scenes sneak peeks, and the promise of a modern spin on a cherished story that started the entire Disney princess legacy. And yet, as we'd all soon find out, having a hefty budget and star power only takes you so far. We've seen time and again how even the mightiest productions can get tangled up in drama that money can't fix. Before long, the whispers began. Maybe Snow White 2025 wasn't going to be the unstoppable success Disney had banked on. Early on, folks started catching wind of friction between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. It wasn't the kind of explosive drama you'd see on a reality show, at least not at first. But sometimes quiet tension can be just as damaging. Rachel, known for her unfiltered commentary, didn't hold back when discussing how the 1937 cartoon felt dated, or how the classic Snow White narrative might not align with modern values. While some fans applauded her frankness, saying it was about time we got a princess with a stronger sense of agency, others were furious that a newcomer would talk down on a film that had defined so many childhoods. Meanwhile, Gal played it cool in interviews, praising the film's scale and creative ambition without diving too deep into controversies. On the surface, Gal was the polished, seasoned celebrity, while Rachel came off as more impulsive and vocal. Cue the rumor mill. Insiders whispered that Gal found Rachel's outspoken nature uncomfortable. Rachel might have been pushing for script changes or updated themes that Gal felt could alienate the classic fanbase. Tension of this sort doesn't stay under wraps forever, especially when you have an enormous budget on the line and a rabid fan community scrutinizing your every move. The question was never if the friction would leak, but rather when it would blow up for all the world to see. Just as the chatter about personality clashes started picking up steam, the film was given its first test screenings, an industry standard practice where focus groups watch an early cut. The feedback was, in a word, lukewarm. Some viewers found the visuals stunning. After all, $350 million buys a lot of CGI wizardry. But critiques described a bland storyline, characters that didn't gel, and a sense that Disney was trying too hard to modernize the classic without retaining its heart. With that kind of negative feedback looming over them, Disney executives reportedly went into full-on crisis mode. Reshoots were scheduled to address pacing issues or undercooked character arcs, and rewrites were ordered to punch up the dialogue or fix story gaps. Every extra day of shooting costs a fortune, from paying the stars and crew to the overhead for complex sets. Naturally, the budget soared higher. Some sources hinted that Disney could be looking at record-breaking expenditures if the reshoots didn't address the core issues quickly. And if you believe the whispers, that's right about the time the real tension between Rachel and Gal started seeping through the cracks. Some said Rachel was passionate about making Snow White's journey more relevant, while Gal advocated focusing on big, show-stopping visuals. The gulf between them, along with the gulf in creative visions, only deepened. When you're spending this kind of money, the stakes become astronomical. The studio's top brass needed a cohesive, crowd-pleasing hit. Instead, it seemed they were juggling not only the film's narrative problems, but two very different leading ladies who might not have been on the same wavelength at all. What started as subtle tension went full-blown public soon enough. Rachel made a few remarks on social media about how we need a better Snow White for modern times, which fired up a massive debate. Die-hard Disney fans criticized her for disrespecting an untouchable classic, while others rushed to her defense, claiming she was giving a voice to younger audiences who want progress. Gal, meanwhile, tried to maintain the typical Hollywood smoothness, but tabloids latched onto rumors that she and Rachel were butting heads off camera. Some outlets claimed they refused to do joint interviews. Others said the promotional photo shoots were tense affairs, with each actress insisting on having certain angles or retakes. Fans, of course, chose sides. In one corner, Team Rachel, praising her courage and fresh perspective. In the other corner, Team Gal, championing her as the level-headed pro. All the while, Disney was practically begging people to focus on the lavish production design and how the film was going to reinvent the fairy tale for a new generation. But let's be real, bad publicity has a way of overshadowing everything else. It didn't help that behind the scenes, staffers whispered about how reshoots were tanking morale. Crew members were reportedly frustrated by changes in direction as the script kept evolving. Directors and producers tried to patch holes in the story while also figuring out how to mitigate the negative social media frenzy swirling around their two main stars. By now, the budget was rumored to be so high that even a respectable box office opening might not guarantee a profit. And then came the bombshell, a rumor that Disney might actually demand money back from Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot. Now, it's not every day you hear about a studio going after its own stars for financial recourse. Typically, a film is a gamble. If it flops, that's on the studio. But word spread that Disney believed the lead's off-screen drama, controversial comments, and public sniping did real harm to the film's prospects. Some speculated that moral clauses or promotional obligations in their contracts had been violated. Others thought it was just a desperate move to shift blame, especially as a mega-budget meltdown can land executives in hot water with shareholders. Regardless, the mere idea of a studio going after two of Hollywood's biggest names for a slice of that $350 million had everybody talking. Industry reactions were swift and varied. Some insiders called the rumor outrageous. Surely Disney wouldn't jeopardize relationships with A-list talent by pulling such a stunt. Others said that if either star's behavior legitimately undercut marketing efforts or tarnished the film's reputation, the studio might have a contractual leg to stand on. Either way, it turned what was already a messy situation into something far more explosive. Rachel's supporters, for instance, argued she was being scapegoated for simply stating an honest opinion about the original Snow White. Gal's defenders insisted she had done nothing beyond standard promotional obligations. Meanwhile, critics of the entire production pointed out that no amount of star politeness could save a script that test audiences found underwhelming. In other words, don't blame the actresses. Maybe the film just isn't good. Once the advanced critical reviews started trickling in, the nails seemed to be hammering deeper into the coffin. Some reviewers praised the visual spectacle, the lush sets, the intricate costumes, the big musical numbers. But the consensus was that the spark between Snow White and the evil queen simply wasn't there. Instead of a thrilling cat-and-mouse dynamic, critics described a stilted relationship that seemed weighed down by real-life tension bleeding into the roles. Viewers who managed to see early screenings were similarly divided. One camp said Rachel gave a spirited performance but was hamstrung by a half-baked script. Another camp thought she'd gone too far in criticizing the source material and didn't belong in the role of Snow White if she couldn't respect the story's history. Some folks loved Gal's regal take on the queen, while others found her portrayal lacking in genuine menace. Online fan communities clashed in every corner of the internet, from Twitter to discussion boards. Was Rachel right to call the original outdated? Did Gal underpromise on the villain vibe? Did Disney sabotage its own movie by responding to every bit of negative buzz with frantic reshoots? Worse yet, people started bickering about whether the rumored tension overshadowed the potential for a good movie. Then, hints emerged that Disney might slash the theatrical release window and pivot quickly to streaming. If the box office forecast looked too grim, a long run in theaters could be a public embarrassment. With each day came fresh speculation. Was this the final straw for the once untouchable Disney live-action formula? Had Snow White, the origin point of the studio's entire fairy tale empire, become the next cautionary tale in an era of unrelenting hype and internet chatter? What we're left with is a situation that reads like a perfect storm, a cherished, generation-defining story, a sky-high budget, two high-profile actresses who never fully gelled, and an online environment that magnifies every slip-up. Gone are the days when studios could hush up behind-the-scenes squabbles. Today, fans dissect every Instagram post, every interview snippet, every side-eye during a press conference. And boy, does that make for a risky environment when you're messing with a beloved property like Snow White. Disney might have underestimated how fiercely people would defend the original's legacy. Even if modern updates are inevitable, the rollout needed to be approached with a blend of respect and innovation, not overshadowed by rumored feuds and shaky rewrites. From a broader perspective, Snow White 2025 stands as a flashing warning sign for other studios. Big budgets don't guarantee success, and star power can backfire if the cast is mired in controversy. In Hollywood, you're only as bulletproof as your last profitable venture. One massive flop, especially on a key brand property, can dent a studio's reputation in a way that'll take years to repair. Moreover, this fiasco might embolden studios to craft more stringent contracts, with clauses restricting how freely actors can speak about the film's source material or production. Some folks argue that's a step in the wrong direction, stifling creativity and honesty. Others say it's necessary to protect an investment of hundreds of millions. Either way, you can bet Hollywood lawyers are watching Disney's moves closely to see if a refund demand or lawsuit actually materializes. Ultimately, the meltdown reveals that fairy tales and real life don't always mingle well, especially under the blazing spotlight of 24/7 internet scrutiny. If the alleged behind-the-scenes bickering was half as intense as the rumors suggest, it's a small miracle they finished filming at all. So, will we remember this Snow White remake for the flamboyant costumes, the million-dollar sets, or the friction between Rachel Zegler and Gal Gadot? At this point, it's looking like the drama off-screen may outshine anything the camera captured on screen. What started as a big, bold reimagining of the Disney fairy tale could now end up as the cautionary tale of 2025, where bigger budgets, bigger stars, and bigger controversies collided in one epic meltdown. And that brings us back to the wildest rumor of them all. Is Disney truly prepared to knock on Rachel and Gal's doors, demanding a piece of that colossal production budget back in restitution? Some still scoff at the idea, citing it as little more than tabloid noise. Others point to the shifting tides in Hollywood, where brand image is paramount and a flurry of negative buzz can tank a film's opening weekend. In an industry that's more competitive than ever, maybe Disney's frustration reached the boiling point. Regardless of the rumor's outcome, it's safe to say this fiasco isn't going away quietly. Critics have mostly shrugged at what they call a hollow remake. Fans are exhausted from watching their favorite fairy tale descend into chaos, and the two lead actresses may be left wondering how it all went so spectacularly off the rails. Even if Snow White 2025 manages to recoup some money through international markets or a streaming push, the brand damage is done. In the end, it's a story about how even the brightest dreams can sour when too many cooks stir the pot, and when your biggest selling point transforms into your biggest liability. For a film named after one of Disney's most iconic princesses, it's ironic that its legacy might be overshadowed by tension, drama, and the lingering possibility of a studio actually demanding a refund from its own stars. Where do you land on all this? Did Rachel just speak a little too freely? Or did she stand up for a more modern vision? Is Gal unfairly caught in the crossfire? Or is Disney entirely at fault for letting a beloved fairy tale get buried under a mountain of bad press? Whatever your take, one thing's for sure. This isn't the happily ever after anyone envisioned when they greenlit a Snow White remake with a jaw-dropping budget. Thanks for supporting the Gossip Wire. If you made it this far in the video, make sure to like and subscribe for more of the hottest celebrity news online.